Good morning. Again, my name is Bob Purdon, and being a person in retail directly for years as a salesman and manager, and then being on the road, traveling for years through many, many dealerships, spending a week at a time in each one, I certainly had the opportunity to observe a lot of different scenarios, but they were all, they weren't unique. And when I say that, it's amazing how when you continue to see the same flow of opportunities that aren't taken, it gets discouraging after a while, because you say, boy, there's such a win factor out there, that if the certain principles and cultures were put in place, people would be much more, as customers, much more receptive to the process. The people carrying out the process would feel a lot better. They wouldn't have the problems that they deal with mentally. And all the complications would tend to, not all of them, but most of them would tend to disappear. And the end result would be happier customers, happier people in the sales profession, and more profits for the salespeople. I want to reiterate that as we go through these different scenarios, that the customer is not the enemy. The customers need to be led properly. As I will mention, they'll put themselves in verbal corners that we have to get them out of those corners tactfully to keep the interview moving, to keep them heading in the direction we want, which is ultimately what? To select a product. That is exactly what it is all about. I am not a salesperson first, I'm a product specialist. And the product specialist approach, if carried out properly for the customers, will end up with a high ratio of successful interviews, ending up with a lot of business being done. But I have to make sure it's done right. The customers have no rules. I have to have the rules within myself, the culture within myself, and I have to be heading in the right direction. During the interviews, of course, we're watching the development of the interest of the customer on the product, and eventually they really seem to like the product. When they came in, they were a little bit apprehensive, maybe a little nervous, but as we worked together and they found out that we were really assisting them in a positive way, they started to relax. So their temperature started up here and then started to relax, and we move into the interview. But eventually we're going to be sitting down, as I say, and we're going to be approaching the presentation of numbers. What is this going to cost? And if we watch carefully, you'll see that the posture of the customer is changing. They went from a little bit of apprehension to relaxing. Now we're getting into the numbers and the apprehension starting to raise again. It's getting a little heavier because they want to obviously get the best deal. So let's talk about our mental approach to this first. When you and I are representing a product that has a price on it, were we responsible for the price? Absolutely not. The manufacturer and the company we represent were responsible for the price. In the direction of paying for the vehicle, and prices are presented along with payments. Did we create the payments? Absolutely not. The banking community created the payments. So all price factors had nothing to do with me personally. I am not the person who did this as far as creating a negative. I'm the messenger. And I will say to the customers, if they are offering resistance, please, and you say, I'm wrong, I'm high, folks, excuse me, I didn't build it. I didn't price it. I'm not a bank. All I'm trying to do is earn your business and do the best I can for you. So I want the target of negotiation off me. I want to deflate. And anytime they say you're to, I am going to stop and correct them immediately. Folks, excuse me, all I want to do is earn your business. Frankly, I wish this item sold for half price. So I have no disagreement with your desire. But what do I have to feel? I have to feel they want the item. If they have not made the selection mentally of that item, whether it be cars, whatever it might be, then I'm at an extreme disadvantage, because they're going to do the game, play the game, but without emotion. The more they like the item and the way they've been handled, the easier and more successful negotiations will be. So successful negotiations are the dimension that is connected, if you will, to the wanting and of the vehicle. So in proportion, negotiations will be as successful as the customer's desire for the product. And let's identify what it takes to do business. The customer must select the product in their minds. They must select the place to do business. They must select the benefits of doing business with us. And all of those factors have to line up before they can accept the price. So they have to buy the facility, the way, the product, the location, all of those things have to be acceptable before they can say within themselves, yes. But they are going to work the deal a little bit. Not all, but most. So what are the mistakes that can be made that could be fatal to negotiations before they begin? Well, we sit the people down and we identify the product on paper using what we would call a worksheet that has the information on the vehicle, the equipment on the vehicle, and the price, the manufacturer's suggested price. And filling this out, I'm just reinforcing that these are the items they want, this is the vehicle they want, and then I'm going to say to them, now let me go research the price. But may I ask you, other than the price, could you see yourselves enjoying that vehicle today? Great, great. They may not say they are going to. They may not say no. Remember, you mentioned doing it all. We'd like to see it all, then we'll decide. How do I know that they aren't going to change their verbal position in a few more minutes? So I'm letting them make the decision, but I want to be positive. So to give myself a timeout, I'm going to research the price, because the first rule of successful negotiation is be the first one to quote the first price other than the offer, the price itself.